Redditors who were born at a very young age, what is your story? I remember when I was applying for a job as a fashion editor, they asked me what made me get into fashion. I didn't know what to say, so I said, I've been putting on clothes since I can remember. Both the interviewer and I started cracking up. I got that job. Why do you want this job? I've always been passionate about not starving to death. I actually answered something like that at a job interview by phone. They called early in the morning while I was sleeping, so you can imagine that I wasn't at my sharpest. The interviewer asks why I want to work for them. I answer that I need a job and they need someone to work for them, and that's about it. I did not get the job, but let's be honest, I'm not willing to pretend that I'm in love with your company. I do this for money. To be honest with you, it was pretty rough. I couldn't talk, so I had a real tough time expressing myself. It got so frustrating I'd just cry and cry. Sometimes my mom or dad would be there for me, then they'd cover their face and completely disappear from my world. Also, I could not stop pooping myself, so no one respected me, consequently they kept treating me like a baby. I'm so sorry about that experience. Seriously, it made me tear up just reading your story. Hopefully, that mental trauma didn't follow you your entire life. You'll be in my prayers tonight. You were very small, and you had no money. I think we can all imagine the kind of stress you were under. I happened to be born extremely young. In fact, I also happen to have been the youngest person on the planet, even if only for a very short period of time, presumably. We should all get a Guinness World Record for having been the youngest person at one point. I'm picturing a bunch of Guinness officials standing in delivery rooms all over the world handing out certificates for the world's youngest person, and then immediately invalidating them. They get lined up in a row right after someone is born. First guy makes the certificate, second guy stamps it as official, third person gives it to the baby and takes a picture with them, fourth person takes the certificate and rips it up. Then they hand the baby back to its mother and go from baby to baby, repeating the same steps. I was born naked. That's so embarrassing. I don't wanna brag or anything, but I've seen a naked lady right after I was born. Not another one since that, though. Dude, I was sucking on titties for months after that. Not me personally, but a friend of mine was born on his birthday. Is he okay? Any lasting trauma? No, he's completely normal. You'd never know he was any different from you or me. Crazy. I knew a guy who was the youngest person in the world when he was born. I was so shocked, I couldn't speak for a year. Wow, same, but I was also so shocked I couldn't walk for 8 months. I was mad that they shocked me, so I refused to eat with a fork and a knife for the first few years. Also, for some reason the doctor immediately slapped my ass when I came out. Still don't know what I did wrong. I was so shocked, I was shitting myself for about 2 years. I was so shocked, I was shitting myself for about 15 years. Dedication. After I was born I started to age quickly, with about 1 second per second. Every 60 seconds in Africa a minute passes. No it doesn't. Have you ever waited at a single lane bridge waiting for a tortoise to cross the bridge and you have an appointment that you can't be late for? Well, seriously, this really has happened to me in South Africa. That does not feel like a normal second. A maniac in blue clothes pulled me off and slapped me. Interesting. So tell us, what happened when you were born? While I get this is supposed to be a funny one, I actually was born at a very young age, 3 months premature. In 1987, or 3-month premature baby was a pretty dicey situation. My parents allowed the doctors to do some lung treatments that at the time were still very new. I spent a long time in an incubator and had a feeding tube. The scar makes it look like I have 2 belly buttons, which I used to think was super neat when I was a kid. All in all, I turned out fine. I have 2 kids of my own who were born healthy and on time. I guess I just wanted to share my somewhat serious story on this otherwise lighthearted thread just in case any other parents of preemies happen to read. Even if your baby is born at a very young age, there is hope that everything can be okay. Right after my birth I slowly started dying. You create more cells than cells that are dying until about age 23, at which point more cells die than are created. So, you don't actually start dying until you're an adult. I'm 24 and this made me sad. Don't worry, you'll be dead soon, and dead people can't be sad. It all started on the day of my birth. My parents didn't show up. When my mother was pregnant with me, they did an ultrasound and found she was having twins. When they did another ultrasound a few weeks later, they discovered that I had absorbed the other fetus. Do I regret this? No, I believe his tissue has made me stronger. I now have the strength of a grown man and a little baby. That's creepy AF. Clearly I was very sick. I mean, I was born in hospital. Damn, did you survive? Sadly, no. To be honest, I've suppressed nearly every memory of the early period, but my parents tell me I avoided most activities, refused to speak, and spent much of my time crying. Big deal, I do that now. I was born at a very young age, the youngest age anyone has seen. People say it was the greatest youngest birth ever. It was young and beautiful. Great age. Tremendous age. And you know a lot of people have ages. My people told me these people, many people have ages. But we had such great ages folks, I'll tell ya. But no one had such a young age. The doctors, they said, we've never seen such a young age. Many doctors told me this. The youngest age, possibly ever. Joe Biden could never be born at such an age. Joe Biden, when he was born he turned 40. And maybe even older than that. I don't know, maybe even older than that. And you know, I have never looked better. Believe me. Is this fake news? I was born at an extremely young age. Then it went downhill from there. The first 10 million years were the worst, and the second 10 million years, they were the worst too. The third 10 million I didn't enjoy at all. After that I went into a bit of a decline. Not many people know my story, but I was actually alive 9 months before my birth. When I was born I realized almost immediately that I knew practically nothing. Not much has changed. Well, I'm very fast. I managed to beat 500 million contestants at my very first race, then I had to rest for 9 months cause that was stressful. I was born at 0 years old. It was a struggle for my parents, because I wasn't able to speak, or even walk at the time. I actually had to learn those things over time, along with other things people take for granted, like being able to feed myself, use the washroom on my own, bathe myself. Some of these skills took me literally years to develop. I grew up always comparing myself to others, those who were lucky to have been born much older than 0. But I learned to accept that everyone is different, and I'm unique because of my differences. My worst fear now is that it is genetic, and that my own child will be born at 0 years of age. It keeps me up at night. Most doctors estimated I only had about 80 years to live after I was born, but that didn't stop me from living my best life. Hope I can be an inspiration to someone else.